wanted to make a quick video because I just finished another audiobook. I've started listening when I've been walking to work, and so and then of course I get stuck on them and I want to listen to them when I get home too. So I have been listening, and I just listened to The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. It was a unique story. I've been doing research into Judaism over these past few days, so it was relevant to what I was doing. So I found it and I enjoyed the story. It was very good. It was a love story about a Jewish man and a Jewish woman who met in a concentration camp. He was the tattooist, the person who would put the numbers on the people as they entered the camp, and so it was a good story. It touched on the different elements of the concentration camps, the crematorium, this arbitrary people being shot by guards, just the pure dehumanization. But the tattooist was able to speak like 5 different languages, and so he took it upon himself to be an advocate for all the peoples. He approached some workers who were locals in the concentration camp, and he set up this system where the people who were going through it was women who were going through the possessions that were discarded from people who came to the camp, and so they would sift through and find the gems and anything that was worth any money. And so they would find those. He would take those. He would trade them with the townspeople for food and anything else. And so he would then get the foodstuffs, and he would trade them back, give them back to the people who had found the gems, and they would share it amongst just anyone in their blocks. So it was an interesting story. Just to hear, he was conflicted, of course, because he was tattooing people. It was a position of privilege, and he did pseudo befriend one of the captors. The guy was very rude, and he was threatening the main guy, often saying, well, I could kill you, but I guess not, that sort of thing. And you could be dead by the end of the week, but in the meantime, do whatever I say, so that it was that kind of relationship. But he did ask for favors, and the guy would maybe do them to, get a hold of Gita. Gita was the name of the woman he was in love with, and so he did pass messages along for them. And but yeah, the main character was conflicted, having this position of privilege, kind of going against his own people, but he did it for protection. He said, I'm going to do whatever I need to get through this, and I'm going to walk out of this concentration camp at the end of the war, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to marry Gita, and we're going to live happily ever after. And so it talked about that. It talked about abandoning Auschwitz and Birkenau, and as the Russians invaded and started the liberating of peoples. And so that wasn't the end of the war, of course. There was still soldiers and warriors just fighting or trying to while away their times in perhaps more privileged ways, or less politically correct, polite ways too, trying to survive after the war. Obviously, they marched a bunch of people out of the camps. A lot of people died at that time. So it was very sad. It was a sad story. Of course, anything that with the concentration camps, and he had befriended the gypsies, and they had all been murdered. It was pretty standard of a concentration camp story. There was a doctor who had less than polite morals and wanted to experiment on people, and he would make sure that they weren't able to have children, and just a lot of terrible things that happened. So it was a sad story, but they did end up finding love and getting through it, and so that is good. So with that, I am going to wrap up this video. I did enjoy it. It was a quick listen. It was only 7 hours. I've been listening to books that have been about maybe like double that, so it was a quick one, but it was still a good story. So that's all for now. I hope you have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.